Hi, I'm Ross with Sky Management, and on today's episode, our parents have finally decided to cut the cord. So our parents are getting rid of their cable, but they still want to have their local channels at their house. So we wanted to wire up an HD antenna that will power all of the TVs in their house instead of having individual antennas on each TV. So this is an outdoor HD antenna. It's meant to be mounted on the outside of the house. So for your best signal, you're going to want to mount it as high as you can, facing toward the direction that you think the antennas are broadcasting from, and you want to put it up as high on your roof as you can get it. Now, we don't really want to mount it on the outside of the house because we thought it wouldn't look that great, so we're going to be mounting it inside the attic, and we'll see how that turns out. We purchased this Vansky antenna on Amazon, and we'll put a link for this antenna down below in the description for this video. Inside the box, there is the power control unit, the remote to operate the motor. This antenna will actually pivot on a motor, and this part is the motor. You will assemble the antenna. It comes in several pieces. The mount to mount it to the roof, or in our case to the side of the attic. It does come with a coax cable. I believe it was 32 feet of coax cable. Some various screws for mounting it to the wall and for putting it together, as well as the bracket to mount it to the pole and the antenna itself.
In one of your hardware bags, you're going to find some of these little black screws here. They're pretty small, and they're going to end up going through these little figure-8 pieces into the tiny holes there, and they kind of just self-thread themselves in there. So we're going to go ahead and put one on there. You are going to need to have a Phillips head screwdriver for this application. You could probably use a power screwdriver, but I would probably recommend just using a hand one so that you don't strip any of these out, because it is just going into an aluminum piece.
To mount the motor to the bottom of the antenna, it really only goes one way. There's two metal prongs on the top part of the motor here, and that fits right into the bottom of the antenna. And you'll use the silver screws to screw that to the bottom of the antenna. And then there's the mounting bracket that will screw to the motor using the same silver screws. In the packet of screws, there is one screw that is different than the rest. It is the larger one. It's to hold the loops of the antenna on here. So we'll see the hole is only on one end of this. Is there a larger hole? And it'll go all the way down, and you put the screw in this hole right here.
All right, so what we're doing is we're planning on putting this thing out here in the middle of the attic, because if we were to put it on an edge piece real close to where we're at, it's got to be able to rotate and spin. It'll end up hitting the rafters up here, so the truss system or whatever it's called. So what we're going to do instead is mount it a little further in so that it has free reign to spin and get it pointed in the general direction that we want it to be facing. So we're going to go ahead and put that on there. It comes with some bolts that use a 1/2 inch drive on there to lag those in for the support system. We're going to put those in, and then we'll mount it up. Once we get that other part mounted up there, you're going to need to insert this bent piece to give the proper angle, and you'll be mounting it up there with these two longer bolts that have a squared off end here towards the end of the shaft, and these lock nuts. And when you get those put through there and crank down on there, it'll force that in there and keep that from turning and coming loose on this end. The other end will actually go into the antenna part that we've already showed you how to assemble, and there are some manual things you can tighten down on that to clamp down on it with this. If I can get it flipped over here the right way. Get this crank down on it to pin that in there like that, to really cram it in there. So we're going to get that mounted up here next. Once you get those nuts on there finger tight, you're going to need to have your trusty ratchet set back to tighten down those nuts. Okay, well, we're going to attach the cable on here before we put it up there, because once it gets up there, it's going to be a lot harder to get it attached. Now, we've got that thing. It's hard to get around to that angle up here in the attic. If you were doing this outside, it'd be a little different, but you want to get that up in the air about as straight as you can get it before putting this on here.
One nice thing about this is it is really light. It's all aluminum and plastic, so it's not like you're trying to carry this thing on your roof that weighs 20 pounds. It's pretty light.
Doesn't make it any less awkward when you're trying to navigate not falling through the ceiling. If you don't mind, please feel free to fall through the ceiling so I can get it on YouTube. We'd like 1 million views. Now, do you want to go ahead and get that position close to where you think the direction is you may want it? Which in our case, back towards town, is that way. So we'll get that tightened down on there and ready to work, and then use that motor function at the top of there to then rotate this for you.
The instructions say to leave enough cord that it can rotate all the way around. So you want to leave some extra cord up there.
And then we'll be attaching it into this box and plugging in the box. All right, well, let's go ahead and turn it on and see if we can at least get it to come on here.
Turn the power switch on and it came on. The button here says rotation. If we push the button, the antenna spins. The antenna does come with a remote, however it does not come with the AAA batteries that you have to put in there. The remote would be nice if you have the antenna mounted on the roof and you're needing to point it a different direction for some reason. You can point the remote at the box and move the antenna with the remote. If you're holding the box, you could just push the button on the box. I don't know why you have a remote. So we've got our antenna all plugged in. It's fed down to all the TVs in the house. They all seem to be getting channels. Picking up about 24 channels. Some of them come in better than others, and it's going to depend on where you live in the country and everything. Here we got about 24 channels, and some of them come in pretty good. So all in all, we're happy with it. Again, we got this antenna on Amazon. We put a link to it down below in the description. So if you'd like to try it out for yourself, check it out. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you back next time.